Presentation on our capability and services. I'm Rob Domain. I'm the founder and the CEO of Azure, and I'm going to talk you through a brief presentation on our capability. To start off with, let's do a little bit of background. Who are we? Well, since 2013, that's when we founded the company. We've been delivering SOC as a service solutions. When we first started, we delivered that to mainly governments. A lot of our background is in public sector. So you see a lot of those sort of key aspects of our business are driven from our work in government. So we have a lot of security cleared staff. Well, everyone's security cleared in the business, of now 75 people. And that's a lot of our history is delivering government. But these days we deliver services all around the globe to public and private sector, with a main SOC in the UK, with a backup SOC in the UK, and another SOC in Canberra in Australia. We're really focused on delivering service, not technology. So we have technology as part of our service, but we're really interested in the outcomes of a good, successful SOC. And to do that, we focus a lot on our staff and our people as much as the technology we're providing. And we're big into getting the right mix of staff and things like the right diversity, in particular neurodiversity in the business. So at the heart of our mindset, if you like, or the reason why we want to do this is that we believe that getting the right diverse minds and passion, the right people with the right diversity and passion, and then supporting them with the right technology, processes, culture and management is what is needed to address the cybersecurity challenge. And then we deliver that up and package that in our SOC as a service proposition. One of the things we did last year, which has been a massive success, is to create a separate sub-business of E2 Assure, which is called E2 Engage. This specifically takes people who currently don't work, don't have a job, and bring them into cybersecurity by creating a program where they get trained with our partner IASME in cybersecurity, and then they start to slowly drift into our SOC service through E2 Engage. And we've currently got 8 or so analysts through that program, and it's very successful. You can see more on our website, and it's worth a read. And I'll probably put some links in here about some other sort of presentations and conferences around diversity. But it's fundamental to understanding what we're about, is that we believe that it's the key aspect here is the people using the right technology to deliver an outcome. So if you look at some of sort of basics and fundamentals in the business, the sort of building blocks. We've been 27001 2013 for a long time now. We're audited every 6 months by BSI themselves, and you'd expect that, I guess, from a sort of security company like ourselves. We have Cyber Essentials Plus. We've had it since that started as well, and we're in all the different government schemes for government G-Cloud suppliers. We're in the DCMS list of the suppliers to government of cyber services. And PSF approved means that we're approved to deliver services to the police from our SOC. So we have lots of right credentials, and these credentials help build trust with our customers because we've got all these certifications, and our business delivers services to this level with security cleared staff. It's very important that we've got trust in our staff, and because our staff are delivering our service to customers. So it's a massively important aspect to our business. A little bit more background on how we recruit people, how we started to build our team. Like I say, we've not been trying to just simply look at one avenue for recruiting talent. We look at all avenues, and one of the things that's been a huge success, well, two things actually, as well. The first has been the SANS Cyber Academies. So the original Cyber Academy, and then the Cyber Retraining Academy, and then pretty much everything else that SANS do with UK government to generate interest and find cyber talent we've been involved in, and we recruit lots of people. So from the first Cyber UK Academy, we recruited 5 people off the bat, but since then lots more have come and joined our business, and then through the Retraining Academy we also found some more. So we've made use of these academies, and we also really support these academies and these activities, and we try and get young people, old people, whatever these different programs are, interested in cybersecurity and interested in working for us. Another key aspect has been Cybersecurity Challenge UK, which we're a supporter of, and we try and get involved in every on-the-ground activity that we can in schools, universities, because we really want to sort of create, so we think we've created a thriving, outstanding cybersecurity company that people want to work for, and that's really important, and that's how we find the talent. So if Talk about our SOC service then. What is it and why do we do it? Well, we've built something called Cumulo, which is our SOC platform that underpins all of our services. And it's focused on the analysts themselves. So it's focused on making analysts effective at doing SOC and security detect and respond. To do that, it's got what we call native capabilities. So I think the key point here is that rather than us saying, if you're going to take our service, you've got to replace everything because we have to have our stuff. It's not what we're saying. So if you've already got well-deployed cloud security components in Azure, so using things like log analytics and security services and Sentinel, using things like Security Hub or Guard Duty in AWS, or using Oracle's log analytics services and things like that, we believe that we should be able to reuse that in our service rather than making you duplicate all that log collection effectively or some of the security detections in our service. So that's a really important message, and we think that's a big differentiator for our services in that we're not going to try and make you migrate to us or something like that. We're going to leverage what you've deployed already. And if it's on-prem, it's traditional domains and things like that. It's very much following Microsoft best practice for security monitoring, along with NCSE guidelines for log monitoring. We want you to create a good detection environment, and we want to leverage that in our service rather than saying you've got to deploy all our agents everywhere, because that's just going to take too long, and it's not what you want either as a customer, because you might want to be able to make sure you're getting best value from your suppliers and not be tied in. And we've always believed that's the case. We have a lot of success in government's G-Cloud framework, which is really hard to compete in effectively because it's making sure that you're not tying customers in. It's making you recompete every couple of years or every year. So it's a good marketplace that we're very successful in. And that's a good sort of justification, if you like, for why we operate like this. Because you can't be charging customers twice effectively by saying we've already got the logs in Azure, but we want you to ship them all somewhere else, and we'll charge you for that. That's not the way of doing it these days. It's not correct. And we believe it's all about leveraging existing investments to deliver things quickly. And then the scalability and flexibility piece is huge because a lot of our organizations, pretty much all of them, have some cloud and some on-prem. So we're able to leverage some, we have our service and it has its own log collection architecture as well. So if you've got nothing on-prem, but your cloud's quite good, we'll deploy an appliance, a virtual appliance or a physical appliance to your on-prem, grab all the logs locally, so they're not using all your bandwidth. Then we'll integrate Cumulo with that, and we'll integrate it with your cloud, meaning that you've got coverage everywhere, and then we can scale both things up. So the appliance can talk to the cloud for extra storage, extra archive space, and all those kind of things. So basically, we're able to really quickly deploy, cover all your environments, whether on-prem or in the cloud, and hook it all up together through a single portal. That portal then has built-in automations that we're using, standardized rule sets, and leverages existing technology we've deployed to make sure we're detecting things quickly. And then through our automated analysis, which we've built, and our expert analysts, we're able to react quickly through that platform with response times up to 15 minutes and things like that. And again, because we're delivering a single platform for our analysts, it's really easy for us to scale that and connect that to lots of different things, because to us it's a single pane of glass that ourselves and our customers can access to get a single pane of view, display and interact with the live SOC service, and that's pretty unique. And I'll talk a bit more about later. We believe that a proper SOC platform, like an organization, needs quite a lot of things to make a SOC work. Asset management is key, software inventory is key, being able to discover the network and map it's key. So there's a lot of things that go into a good SOC platform, and we can't expect customers to have technology already in these spaces, but they may do. So what I'm trying to say about the way we integrate with things is that the first thing we'll deliver is a top two, which is secure platform that's monitoring itself with a dedicated portal. So that's our Cumulo service going in with secure access to it, meaning that there's somewhere for a SOC to function, a virtual SOC that we work with our customers in. So even if you're outsourcing the SOC to us, we're collaborating in the same space, working in the same tooling. And then it'll connect or it'll deliver other bits of the other squares in this page. So clearly, if you've already got network intrusion detection deployed, then we'll integrate with it. But if you haven't, we can deploy that through a Cisco Telos integrators partner agreement that we have. If you've already got EDR, we'll leverage that in the service. If you haven't, we'll look to deploy something. And if you've already got a SIM, potentially you've already got some Splunk somewhere or something like that, we'll look to leverage that so you're not throwing away that investment. I think that's the key point. And where you haven't got it, we'll basically, or where you have got it, we'll sort of go through a program with you to work out if it's important to you, if it matches the risks and threats that you're facing, if you need that functionality. And then what we're trying to do here is put it together in one single view of the world and create a single view that understands business context for all type of threats, risks, and covers all the assets in your environment. So what do we believe a SOC is? Well, we always talk about outcomes in that we want to really be detecting and responding to attacks before they become a cybersecurity incident or a breach. Yeah, so we kind of think that's more like a proactive incident response view of the world than it is just a detect service. So I think the days of just detecting from logs is long gone. And what you're looking from a SOC service is something that's more focused on enterprise risk management, and it should be protecting and actively defending. So these days a SOC should be doing defense, doing response. I think that's massively key. To do that, it's going to need some stuff. Yeah, it's going to need log management, it's going to need a SIM, it's going to need various bits of those puzzles that I talked about earlier. But really, when we're talking about SOC, what we're talking about delivering is a modern XDR solution as a service, because it's important to see that unless you have this view of the world, this enterprise-wide coverage, you're not going to be able to detect things effectively or respond to things effectively. So fundamentally, this is about people, process, and technology, combining the right people with the right mindsets, with the right technology and processes. And here's a few sort of screenshots. The middle one is playbooks, which is about how we orchestrate process, either manually or automatically. And the right is some screenshots. But I'm going to not focus on the product today. I'm just going to show you more about the service and how it builds. So if you think about the SOC itself, so here's a kind of a virtual picture of a SOC, and clearly it's got SOC analysts in the top left because they're required, aren't they, to do the actual analysis work. But how we've broken our business down is we have a dedicated onboarding team full of SOC analysts, bottom left, who are there to onboard new customers and constantly onboard our existing customers, because a SOC is an evolution and it's always ongoing. If you've kind of stopped adding new feeds and new integrations, then you're not keeping pace. So we have an onboarding team, a continuous onboarding team of analysts and testers who are there to continuously onboard our customers from start to finish of the contract. And that's really important, because then SOC analysts are focused on detecting and responding, not doing other activities like creating parcels or onboarding things and creating rules and alerts. Then we have a big R&D department who are purely there to take requirements from customers, from SOC analysts, from the onboarding team, anywhere else in the business, from business development as well, to drive our evergreen platform Cumulo and make it stronger and stronger. And then our platform is maintained by the engineering team and the service delivery team, who handle the service side of our service. So is it all working correctly? Have the customer got their reports? Is the customer getting looked after? All those type of things. And all of these teams are supporting the SOC, and that's how our business looks. And it's quite important to understand that we're quite mature at delivering SOC now, and this whole business is delivering SOC. It's not trying to sell SOC as a bolt-on, and we think that's hugely important, because it's really quite difficult to deliver an effective SOC service, and these are the type of things you need to do in a business to deliver it. And if you're selling something else and SOC, it's very hard to believe that you're as well structured and as well effective at operating the type of business you need to run a SOC. If you can't keep up to date every day, if you can't run new threat intel in every 15 minutes, every few seconds even, if you can't evolve your technology daily, weekly, monthly, and improve it and improve your process and automation, then you're going to struggle to deliver a SOC these days, because it is a challenge. The volumes of data are huge. The different types of technology we're integrating with are constantly changing, and so are the threats and risks getting, well, it's always the same themes, but they are getting different. And it's really important to understand that building a SOC is not about turning a help desk into a support team and then a SOC. It's about building a whole end-to-end SOC business. So if I sort of show you how big those teams are in relative scale, clearly the SOC analyst is the biggest team in the business. The rest are all supporting them. And one of the teams I didn't mention is the SOC cyber consultants, which is massively important to us. So something we invested in probably 2 years ago now was to create really high-end experienced consultants team who go around making sure that our customers' SOC environments, the virtual SOCs were delivered, operating the most effectively. They're using their combined experience to do customer swarming sessions, which means they go around our customers and spend hours looking at the type of alerts they've been having, understanding if there's opportunities to tune things, or maybe add new detections that are relevant to that specific customer type of data sets. And they're also there to drive our automation to design the best automated analysis for our customers. So what they do is get together with our analysts, look at the type of alerts that they're having, and then they try and train our software to perform the best analysis for those type of alerts, and then actually they can auto close those alerts if they meet the criteria. So for example, do a lookup of this, followed by a lookup of that, extract this from this lookup, compare that with this, go off to some external services and do this, bring it back to here, and if you can't find that and that, or that, then it can be closed. So that's the kind of thing we're doing here, and that's how we bring in SOC analysis at scale. It's by automating the analysis of the SOC analysts. Again, more on that in other videos, but to get started today, I just want to introduce the concept. I guess here's a quote from Palo Alto that I've used to try and explain. XDR is being talked about in the industry at the moment, and really that's what we've been delivering forever. Although clearly there's other solutions that deliver it. We're interested in delivering XDR, whether we're delivering it on our own or integrating with partners to deliver it. And that creates our single pane of glass solution. So think of Cumulo in our service as not like a SIM or a log or anything like that. It's got all those bits, but it's a full XDR service with security automation, ticketing, event workflow, and playbooks, everything you need to run a modern SOC. And like I said before, we're either delivering it all or integrating with stuff you've already purchased to make sure you get the value you need. So, key thing, again, if I were to ask this question previously, so I've tried to put this up. So we believe that getting a SOC service right, whether you're insourcing, outsourcing, or building it, it's 75% people and process, 25% technology. At the moment, most of the people get that the wrong way around and think, oh, we'll just buy loads of technology and that'll fix the problem. Most people have 75% technology. So with our service, it's the other way around. We don't sell the technology. We're looking at the people and process aspect because that's what you need. That's what's missing. Whether we're providing the first and second line, you're doing the third line or the incident response, we're providing that expert leap. And when you combine that with the process efficiency and the automation, that's the bit to focus on. That's the bit you need to get right. So really, let's just try and show you about our end-to-end capability. And as I've sort of built up, then what we're really interested in is SOC as a service with the various functions that build it. I'm not going to talk to this too much, but this kind of gives you an idea of the type of things that we deliver in a bit more detail. I'm not going to focus on those too much today, but you can read that slide if you want to. So how does it all work? So this section now is about how we go about deploying a typical service and how the customer gets access. I'm going to walk you through that now, basically. So it all starts off with us pushing something out called Cumulo. Okay, Cumulo is just a web-based interface, so it's rather like software as a service. We'll deploy Cumulo somewhere. Okay, so this is our portal that we use. This is how the virtual SOC, our SOCs get delivered. So Cumulo is a bit of software, and it's a web interface, accessed by a web interface that will live either in one of our partners' clouds, like UK Cloud, or it can live in your Azure environment or your AWS environment, or it can live on-premise on an appliance we provide, or as virtual software in our data center. So really, we've got really flexible options as to where the core SOC sits, and then we'll deploy that bit of service, okay, and we'll build default log collectors in it and things like that, and we create one of those virtually for each of our customers. And the stuff on the right is the functionality that Cumulo has. The stuff on the left is the SOC experience, and it says of our SOC. So those are the type of qualifications in our SOC. It goes up all the time. This slide's slightly out of date, but we're constantly investing in the left and the right, and that's what you're getting in the middle. You're getting people connected to this piece of technology. Okay, that's how it starts. And then we might go, okay, this customer has a big data center and they want to have some threat detection in it, so they don't have much intrusion detection at the moment, or network traffic analysis. So we'll deploy what's called an MFA, funny name. It's, before we had multi-factor authentication, it's multifunction appliance. It's a physical server we deploy that has on it network traffic analysis, as well as Cisco Talos signatures if you want that functionality. And what that does is it constantly records network traffic. It also provides a local log connection place to connect logs locally from the customer's network, as well as it can take net flow and things like that. And it's analyzing traffic, it's recording it, so it's got a PCAP recorder, it's recording a buffer, so we can dip into that, and it's then being used by Cumulo, as in the core virtual SOC, to build a network map dynamically, because it can see assets and things like that, it can see what software is being used, so our SOC immediately gets visibility of networks. Okay, we've got a virtual one as well that goes into AWS, and we're going to use that in other demos to show you that, which uses traffic mirrors in AWS. But this is basically an on-prem box that can have taps. So we use Garland, for example, big time here to deploy big, 40 gig, 10 gig, 1 gig taps, and all those type of things, aggregators, smart aggregators. Basically, think of all that as the network traffic capture arena with threat sensors. What we're also doing there is we're bundling down threat intel bundles, constantly updating to that sensor. We call it a threat sensor. So if we get new indicators, we're pushing them immediately from our central MISPs into sensors that are looking live network traffic for them, as well as hunt through logs. So that's the first building block for this customer. They've got on-prem, we put it in their data center or wherever we think is fit. Generally, that is around their internet connections and the remote access side of things. And then we connect that to Cumulo, either via TLS 1.3 connection or via an IPsec VPN, whatever suits. So that little box top left has everything you need to do that. So the next step might be then to get some logs. So we'll say to the customer, okay, can you start to send your on-prem Active Directory logs to our on-premise appliance? Clearly, they could also send them to the cloud, or they may already have them in Splunk or something. I'll be sending them to Sentinel. We'll pick them up from there. But in this environment, the customer's going, okay, I've got some good old-fashioned Windows. Let's bump the logs towards that appliance. And then Cumulo is going to look at that appliance through an API to the login architecture that we're providing, and it'll know what logs are happening, and it'll build up the logs on that box. That little box on the left has half a dozen SSD drives or more, and it's got followed by some large SAS drives typically, so we can have dozens of terabytes of log data, ideally a couple of years worth of log data in live and archive. And then the customer may want access to that. So that's just the key service here has just begun. Basically, it means that we've deployed the portal, and then we're going to connect the customer to it. And in it, we've got the network traffic analysis stuff at the top left and some customer logs. So to do that, we'll spring up a service on the internet typically by cloud fronting our service effectively and integrating with things like Azure AD, so they can log on over the cloud. We can also deploy it though, so it's connected via VPN or private, or if it's government for some reasons are data sensitive, we can deploy all this into a customer's data center and have it privately connected. But most of the time, we want to set this up via two-factor authentication, integrating with things like Azure AD, and the same account used for Office 365. Let's use those accounts to get you access to this and make it easy, make it a cloud service, and have it so it's somewhere that's always available, even if your data center is on fire, the cloud service is still running. That's the key concept here. So we bring customers in, and customers can see exactly the same thing as we can, and watch what we're doing and make sure we're doing the right things. So in this example here, we're bringing the logs again from that service. So we're self-monitoring our SOC by making sure we understand who's connecting to it and all the rest of it. And then what we're going to do now, we're going to start building the service up, building the maturity of this SOC, extending the coverage. So this customer's got a remote site. In this case, we're going to send some logs from it to that MFA. We might also get some net flow from it. We may also deploy a mini appliance to it to do network capture, whatever. And we're going to build this slide set up. So now they're talking about they've got Azure, they're enjoying that, and they've got some security features enabled in Azure. We're going to connect Cumulo to the Azure APIs. There's loads of great APIs. We can set these things up in a couple of hours, and we're going to leverage the Azure capability, Microsoft Azure security capability within our service just by using an API connection. We're not going to try and grab all the logs out of it and recreate the whole thing that Microsoft have already done for you. We're going to leverage what you've got already. Clearly, if you're not enabling stuff that's in there, then we'd recommend that you do, because the more value you're getting from your existing deployment with Microsoft, the more value is in our service. And clearly, the same goes with Azure, the same goes with your on-prem firewalls. We want to make sure they're working properly and we're getting value out of them, and anything else you're using. But this is how our customers typically build up services. So for AWS, it's very much, right, we need to get in there straight away, get CloudTrail, get CloudWatch. Also, anything you're connecting in S3 buckets that's relevant, let's get that data in. Let's do it all via APIs. Let's connect over the internet to it. Let's connect an application to it, and not muck around. Now, you can also have our log collectors in these environments. If you've got IIS and you've got things that you want to log on loggers, that's fine. You can also ship logs to us and things like that. But fundamentally, the kind of point is to get visibility quickly and reuse stuff that you're getting or you're purchasing in AWS and Microsoft or wherever else you're getting it. Clearly, if you don't using GuardDuty or Security Hub or something like that, then we can do something to make sure you get some good detections. But really, we're looking at leveraging things that you're doing already in those platforms. Okay, we might add obviously ServiceNow, ServiceNow, Workday, you name it. These days, we're all about adding integration with SaaS services, because for some organizations, that's where the most sensitive data is. And then on top of it all, we do external vulnerability scanning. So we scan externally every single IP address and domain you've got to make sure that nothing's wide open. Ideally, we talked about integrating vulnerability scanning programs internally, or leveraging your advanced EDR like Defender for Endpoints. It's got vulnerability vulnerability detection on it, which is perfect for containers and things like that. There's other solutions that we have. Through other technologies, clearly. We're not going to reinvent vulnerability scanning and make our own scanners. We're going to talk to you about using best of breed technologies effectively, cost effectively, and leverage them in our service if you've not got them already. Okay, so again, this is talking about an EDR integration. So if you've got an EDR, this case is CrowdStrike, Microsoft Defender for Endpoints. Clearly, Symantec, whatever they are, we want to get this data in the SOC. And as you can see, the SOC then builds to being this all single pane of glass, the Cumulo sitting in the middle. You're accessing it with us, we're working together, and then we're working in what we call a hybrid SOC environment or a hybrid virtual SOC, where everyone's getting access to the data. You can get your network teams on the data, your service teams. We can integrate with your Snow ServiceNow deployments, where you've got tower models, and all those kind of enterprise things can happen. This is where I'd normally do a quick demonstration, but for today's purpose, I appreciate this has probably gone long enough, and I hope you get a good idea